Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the One More Jump podcast by Rise Pole Vault. Who knows what the heck is going on in college athletics? I don't. I have no idea what is happening at all in this whole new era of college athletics. And I need some clarification because we have parents ask us and kids, wanting some direction. And we try to do our best to give them a little bit of direction as far as college goes. So I thought that I would reach out to my good friend Jeff Coover at University of Northern Iowa and just have a conversation about like what's going on. Give me an update on what this whole new landscape is all about. So we hope that you guys enjoy this podcast with Jeff Coover. Yeah, that's a pretty sick hat.
Thanks, man. We just got these.
Those are tight, man.
Yeah, we just got them made. We just got like Nike camo hats, and then had our like equipment people do the embroidery. So
yeah, that's gnarly. Those are
if
cool.
you want something, you got to make it yourself.
Hey, no, I know that, man. Yeah, I do. Actually, I do all the equipment for Rise. Like I make it at my house.
Really? You
Yeah.
have like a press?
Yeah. So like a press and like there's a bunch of cool stuff that you can do now that you used to not be able to do. It used to only be like screen printing was
Screen
like
print,
the
yeah.
only thing that you could do. But now they have direct to film transfer, which is really,
Yeah.
really cool.
I started getting those for our pole vault, a little pole vault club that we're doing, and having our equipment room people. I just buy blank shirts and then the
Yeah.
DTF transfers,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. Like it's such good quality too. It's crazy,
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really awesome because like at the
and
beginning,
they're
whenever
cheap.
yeah, and they're cheap. And when I first started, I was like, dude, am I gonna, because like if you were to buy something from like a printing place and then resell it, like I would have to sell a t-shirt at like 35, $40,
Yeah,
to like make any sort of like profit off of it.
yeah,
And I was like, I really don't want people to have to spend that much money. So I was like, the only real way to do it is if I source it, get a wholesale account, and
yep,
just like source it all myself and make it and, just roll with it from there. But
yeah.
so we're rolling right now.
Oh,
It's just a
good,
casual conversation. So
good.
that'll be in there. And yeah. But how are
Hey,
you doing, man? I haven't talked to you in forever. Well, I've talked
no,
to you here and there,
just
but just
little
random
sprinkles.
stuff. Yeah.
Doing great, man. Got two kids. I think I'm up one kid since the last time I talked to you.
You got
Uh,
two now?
yeah, I mean, since the last time I was on the pod, so like the last time we've had like a long form conversation, I went up one kid, um, 3 and 6 years old, which
Hmm.
is insane. Years are older than that. You got to be like you have like
Eight
a
and
9 year old?
10.
Eight.
Eight
Oh,
and 10. I know, dude. It's crazy. It's
stupid.
really, really, really nuts. But it's also really I don't know. I had a hard time. I know this isn't like well, I guess it is the dad's podcast right now.
Yeah.
The dad's pole vault podcast. But I had a hard time personally with like those first few years. Like I don't know what it was.
Oh, me too.
It just wasn't my, this sounds terrible. It
No,
just
no,
like
no.
wasn't my thing, like,
Yeah.
and as they get older,
Yeah.
it's just becoming more and
Yeah.
more like, oh man, this is
No.
what I'm going to be good at. This is how I can help them. And every year it's just more that I feel like connected to them. And I don't know. That's how it was for me.
No, I totally identify with that. Like having a baby was totally foreign to me, and I just didn't know how to help and what to do. And it
Yeah.
was super natural for my wife, and she's just been around kids more than I had. And yeah, no, it didn't come easy, and it didn't feel like, I don't know, it was weird at the beginning. I totally identify with that. And then even now, like with the 6 year old, girl, she comes to track practices and stuff and runs around, and it's like it's way more like I can feel more like I'm parenting her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and showing her stuff that like you're good at and like things like
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
like what
She
was
hangs out in the garage when I lift weights, and
yeah.
she loves that. And she wants to get up and try and do pull ups. Like that's her big thing right now is trying to do pull ups, and she can do a pull up all by herself, which is amazing.
She's
And
6 and she can
six
do a
years
pull-up.
old, yeah, she can.
Wow.
She likes to do three, so she likes to do one by herself, and then like two assisted ones, but
Yeah.
like I'm always like, one is good. And she's like, no, I want you to help me do three. I'm like, okay, great,
That-
cool.
yeah, I wonder why it's three. That's
I don't
interesting.
know. I don't know.
So before we get started on the
Anyway.
other stuff, I do want to touch base on this since this is the Fit Dad's Pole Vault podcast, I guess. I am interviewing you because you're the fit dad. Like, how are you staying in such good shape, dude? Like, give
Oh
us
man.
a couple tidbits here. I know this
Yeah.
is probably not the 18 to 35-year-old demographic that we serve, but
No, but honestly, at some point they will be,
yeah,
and if you
100%.
can have one thing that sticks with them, that'd be good. I mean, I think a big part of it was like I never really stopped, so I never
Mhm.
took that break. And actually, I think it was you that said like, whatever you do, don't stop because getting it back is really, really hard. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I think that was a big part, was just like I always stayed in touch with sprinting and pole vaulting and weightlifting. And so it's just always been something that is part of my daily routine, I guess. I'm really lucky at UNI that I have the space and time, and my boss makes it a priority for himself, and we all make it a priority. Our whole staff is very
Mm.
active. And so, yeah, I don't know. Like, I've never had a hard time with like motivation or anything like that. And sprinting, pole vaulting, and weightlifting, which is kind of like the three things that I spend most of my time doing in the physical activity realm, have always been really fun for me, and something that I enjoy doing. And so basically, like, I take both of my kids to school. Well, my 3-year old goes to daycare. I take him to daycare, and then with the 6-year old in the car, loop back around, take her to elementary school, and then I go straight to the track every morning. And I'm doing one or two of those things each day, and I usually am working out for about an hour. And I like to have like little goals depending on the season and stuff. Like I like to just have little things I'm focusing on. Like obviously, I'm doing a lot of weightlifting right now. I think seasonally that just like makes sense in the fall, and it's like starting to get cold, and I did a lot of pole vaulting this summer, and then I've transitioned kind of into a lot more weightlifting. And I was kind of halfway training for this. My brother got me interested in doing this World Masters weightlifting championships. And
Mm.
it ended up that the date didn't really work out, but I kind of thought that maybe I would do that. I ended up doing like an online qualifier and qualified. Like I made the weights that it took to make which I've never done a weightlifting competition. So it was going to be funny because my first ever weightlifting competition was going to be the World Championships, which would have been hilarious. So I
That'd
kind
be
of was
crazy.
kind of was like focusing on that. Like I just have little small goals along the way, and then I found like these things that I'm just really interested in doing. And if that's like running marathons or doing high rocks or doing CrossFit or playing hockey, like one of my friends, Paul Doyle, is a track manager guy, and he just like loves playing hockey. He plays rec hockey like 3 days a week. But if you
Mhm.
see the whoop stats from his hockey games, it's like
Probably nuts.
insane, dude. Like
Yeah.
insane. An hour and a
Yeah.
half, and he's just like pegged at 160 beats per minute and changing directions and all this stuff. This is super good for you. So I think it's just find something you're motivated by and try to make space for yourself to do it. And then the biggest thing that I've realized is that like once you make it a routine, then it becomes really easy
Mhm.
and it becomes something you look forward to rather than something you dread. I mean, my wife, when she had our second kid, it was like time to get going again with working out. She kind of felt like she wanted to do that again, but it was like having a hard time with the motivation.
Mm.
But then like once she went 2 weeks in a row, basically of 5 or 6
Yeah.
days, she's just like she's a fiend. She's insane. Like every
Right.
night. So we do dinner, and then she takes like a 30-minute break after dinner, and she works out for like 45 minutes after dinner, which is insane to me. I could
That's
never.
actually crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy. She does it every day. And not just like she goes in the basement and like goes nuts on these like in like hit workouts, with
Yeah.
weight,
Yeah.
dumbbells, and with kettlebells, and burpees and running in place and just like insane stuff. And right after dinner, I'm like, I do not know. I'm bathing the kids and stuff, and I hear her downstairs like screaming and yelling, and I'm like,
That's
how you're doing.
crazy.
But she's it's like that's the same thing. She found this thing. She's like she uses the Peloton app,
Yep.
which has like a bunch of workouts in it and stuff. And she loves it. She's motivated by it, and because of that, she does it every day. So It's pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, see, my problem is I just am not motivated to
Yeah.
lift weights. Like I
Yeah.
just am it's so weird. Like it'll come through probably in a month or two. It generally like starts to be like, okay, yeah, I will be motivated for a couple months to lift weights or whatever. But I mean, the problem is I'm really motivated to do things that I am not positioned well to do. One of those things is surfing.
Yeah. That's not good.
And we're going this next week actually to your old stomping grounds down in San Diego.
Let's go.
Go to Pacific Beach, Mission Beach area and do some surfing down there. So I just been like practicing my pop-ups and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I just recently got on this new kick, which is winter surfing the Great Lakes.
I want to do it so bad. Please take me.
It's really cool. I did my first one the other day and dude, it's wild, man. It was 15 degrees real temperature.
Oh, I need to go.
You get in like a 5'4" wetsuit, like with full hood, full
Oh
mittens,
yeah.
full booties and everything. And dude, it's hardly it's really crazy. And
Is it
they're
fun?
real legitimate waves out there. Like I went in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and I mean, they don't come through like regular sets. Like in California, you just kind of sit there and it's just like, oh,
Right.
I'll take this one,
Yeah.
and it's pretty straightforward. But this one, it's all wind swell, so it's like not a lot of, it's kind of more sporadic. So you'd be like, you get like a knee high one, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, that one's like over your head. Like there were like head high waves.
No way.
Yeah. It was the most insane
It's
thing
on my
to me ever.
it's really high on my bucket list to surf the Great Lakes. So
We'll go do it. We'll go do it. Uh, you're a decent trek away from it.
yeah, but we come to like the problem is when we come, it's during indoor season, so it's
That's
really
the best time.
I know.
That's the best time is the dead of winter because the north wind on Lake Michigan.
You said a 5'4", do they make like a 6'6" or anything?
They make a 6'5". Yeah. Anyway, we could probably
Okay.
talk forever on all this stuff. Sorry, everybody. Actually, not sorry because this is what we wanted to talk about. And we haven't seen each other in a long time. So,
Yes,
anyway,
absolutely.
so basically, I wanted to bring you on. You're the pole vault coach at Northern Iowa, and we've been friends for a long time. And I have no clue what is happening in the collegiate space right now. And I'm just admitting that. Like, people come to us and they ask us, what should I do about this? And what should I do about that? It's hard when I mean, we're trying to run a business. I'm also building a software company with another partner of mine to help pole vaulting, rentals and memberships and stuff like that. And then also, trying to coach and run the
Yeah.
gym and also trying to do these podcasts every once in a while, just and be a family guy and go winter surfing in Lake Michigan, all of these things. Okay. So trying to keep up with all of the college changes has been impossible. And it's just a completely, totally different landscape than what I was used to. But I hear little things. Like
Yep.
I feel like people are popping around just, "Oh, I'll go here for a little bit. I'll go here for a little bit, maybe do a few more years here, and it's super blasé like with that. And
Right.
that's weird to me. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's like the NIL stuff and all of that. So if you could just like give us like a simple rundown of kind of like what it used to be and then like what it is now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all I know is kind of my experience, what I hear from others. I have a lot of friends in the coaching world. I had a lot of friends that went through college athletics and continued to. And I mean, it is for sure a lot different now than it was then. I mean, I remember, yeah, it was like, when I was 17 when I went to college and I chose Indiana University. I was from San Diego. I chose Indiana University and it was like, there was no thought of like anything but 4 or 5 years at
Hmm.
IU. Like I packed up my mom's Honda CRV and drove across the country, and she's just run away, my son, see it all, see the world. And whether you want to, like, there was no like, oh, maybe you'll end up coming back. It was just
Right.
like, okay, he's off to college for 5 years. And for me, my mentality was like, obviously, like everybody was like, that's the school that I chose, and that's where I'll be for 5 years. Like the idea of transferring was like not real.
Yeah.
Because people would do it every once in a while, but you'd be like, whoa, like how'd they figure that out and all that? So yeah, so my experience was go to school there for 5 years, and everybody that I competed against was at the same school for 4 or 5 years. Like I cannot think of anyone, I can't think of anyone I competed against in college that switched schools. Like I can't think of like,
Right.
oh, there was this guy that was like top eight, in NCAA's, and then the next year he was at a different school or something. Like that just didn't happen.
Yeah. And you know that I transferred. Like, so I went to University of I don't know if you know this, but I went to University of Alabama and then transferred after my freshman year. But it was like the most crazy decision ever. Like, it was
Right.
just like a super like life-changing moment type
Also,
thing.
what I'll add is in your instance, you came back home.
Hmm.
You get coached by your dad, right?
Yes. Big
So
difference.
big difference there. Rather than I'm at a pole vault school, I'm gonna go to a different pole vault school. I'm at
Right.
North Carolina, I'm gonna go to Clemson. I'm in North Carolina, I'm gonna go to Texas. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Right.
that's
Right.
that to me is a different thing, and it happens all the time now, and it didn't really happen back then for me. Every once in a while, you'd hear of somebody in your instance, that that like went to a small. I don't even know, but the point is, it is
I
way more.
totally understand what you're saying. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
That's a different thing kind of.
But yeah, so nowadays, so back then, in order to transfer, you would have to go to your athletics department. You would have to ask for a release. The athletics department would then communicate with the coach on whether they approved the release or not, and to which schools they did approve the release. So, common common practice, like if you were at Indiana, you might ask for a release to be transferred, and Indiana might say you could, and this is very common back then, you can transfer anywhere you want as long as it's out of state and not in the Big Ten,
Mm,
and we're going to block your transfer anywhere else besides that. And blocking the transfer meant that you lost a year of eligibility automatically. So if you were at Indiana and you transferred to Purdue or Notre Dame or Illinois, you lost a year of eligibility because those schools were blocked according to the coach. So the coach
right.
would make that decision on who you could transfer to. And some schools would just grant your release and just say, go ahead and go transfer wherever you like. But that was pretty rare. So it was just it was a big headache. I mean, you just like couldn't really do it. It was really hard. And most competitive coaches weren't really allowing it. And then the transfer portal came around. So the transfer portal came around when I was a coach, since I've been a coach.
Do you remember when that was?
I think it was like 2000.
Was it pre or post COVID?
It was pre-COVID. I want to say it was like 18 or 19.
Okay.
It was pre-COVID. And that basically opened up for lack of better phrasing, like a marketplace for transfers. And so now all transfers, if you wanted to transfer, all you had to do have to do is go to your compliance director and say, I would like to get into the transfer portal. So then there's no questions asked, nothing. You're in. So
You don't even have to talk to your coach.
you do not have to talk to your coach at all. We've had a couple of kids go into the transfer portal without any discussion, any conversation. You don't
Unbelievable.
have to talk to your coach at all, for better or worse. I mean, in some instances, that's a good thing. In some instances, there's a bad situation with the coach. The coach is being controlling,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right. Right.
That
Right. Right.
relationship is hindering a certain student athlete from doing something that would be positive for their life experience.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
the NCAA, and I think they were correct in this. Like they wanted to remove that barrier from kids transferring, so
Yeah.
that the fear of talking to the coach was no longer an issue. So
Yes.
so now you go to your compliance director. You say, I'd like to get in the transfer portal. Usually the compliance director calls the coach and says, hey, I had a conversation with this kid. He wants to get in the portal, so we're going to put him in. And you go, oh, okay, great. And oftentimes, most of the time, they've already talked to the coach. I
Yeah.
mean, 90% of the time, they've already talked to the coach, and then they talk to the compliance director. So And then at that point, their name is in the portal, and there are times in the year that are like track and field doesn't deal with it nearly as much as some of the other sports where the portal is open and closed. Our season, we have indoor track season, outdoor track season, cross country. Like the portal is open for our kids, our track kids, way more. In basketball, it's like it opens the week of March Madness or something, and then it closes like a month later. So
Okay.
that's kind of your window, the transfer portal window. That's your window to get into the portal without any penalty. And so the penalty would again be losing a year of eligibility and
Okay.
or not being able to talk to the coach. Okay. So it's kind of muddy. And there's a lot of dancing around these rules that we see. I mean, just like anything, it's like there's some blatant bending of the rules or just breaking the rules as always.
There's a lot of gray area.
A lot of gray area. So like for example, if the transfer so like the transfer portal window for track closes in the middle of the summer, basically.
Hmm.
Okay. So if after that point, a kid decides they want to transfer for whatever reason, it could be that their event coach leaves. If the event coach leaves, that does not open up your ability to transfer immediately. If the head coach leaves, that opens up your ability to transfer without penalty
Ooh.
anywhere you want. There's no transfer portal window rule. If the head coach leaves, no, there's the window opens for every kid on the team, basically. If the assistant coach leaves, that is not the case.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
That's
So
interesting.
most pole vault coaches are assistant coaches. So
Right.
if they take a job very late in the summer, which happens a lot, the kids that are at the school can get into the transfer portal, but they can't have any recruiting conversations with any schools without a penalty. So the way
Wow.
around that, so theoretically, a coach cannot contact any kids on the team. So like if I were to leave you and I and go to Indiana, just because that's the example those are the schools we've been talking about. Um, Late in the summer, I couldn't contact my kids and say, "Hey, there's a spot for you here at Indiana." Right? That would be
Mm.
illegal. That would be a recruiting violation. What some coaches, I think, and I expect do is that they will speak with somebody that may be like in a grad transfer situation. Sorry, this is all
No,
a
it
graduate
is what it
transfer.
is.
Yeah, yeah. Graduate transfer, again, rules don't apply the same. So once they're a graduate transfer, they're choosing a new school to go to start a new degree, and they can speak to whoever they want. It's not the same as a normal transfer. So
Hmm.
a coach might be able to talk to a grad transfer and say, "Hey, oh, thank gosh, you're a grad transfer. I can speak with you. I can recruit you. This is so much easier than if I were trying to get Johnny to come because I couldn't speak to him, even though we have a roster spot here at Indiana for him. I can't talk to him. It's so frustrating. You know what I mean?
I see what you're getting at.
And Johnny and the grad transfer are best buddies, and that
Yeah, they live
might
together.
they might
Yeah.
get it might get passed on. So there's
Oh
some definitely
man.
some bending of the rules and things like that go on. I expect, and things you
Yeah.
hear about, but that's kind of the transfer portal. That's kind of how the
Right.
transfer portal works, and um, it's active and it's live. I mean, we don't do. I'm really lucky. Again, I can't say how many times. Like I'm super lucky to be at UNI where we just don't. We get some transfers in, we get some transfers out, but the total volume that we do in the transfer portal compared to our peers is very, very low.
Right.
And a big part of that is the fact that we just don't lose a whole lot of kids. Um, we've had some kids get in the transfer portal and leave, but with not a lot of outflow comes not a lot of inflow, and we love it that way. So we want to have our kids for 4 or 5 years, even though they're able to kind of take off at any point. It's nice to be able
Right.
to, yeah.
Well, so we talked about the transfer portal with the athletes going, kind of just like I'll do a little here, a little there.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll just do one every year just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
broaden my experience. And it's like, okay, I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a recipe. That's a recipe probably for doing exactly that, broadening your experience and probably seeing more of the country.
Yeah.
it's probably not a recipe to become better at pole vaulting, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you know as well as anyone in the pole vault world, it's like I always tell my kids that come in, and I have a decent history of kids, freshmen coming in and PRing their first year. Like it happens, but I'm
Mhm.
like, I need 2 years,
Oh
like
yeah,
I need 2 years before you understand like what we're really getting at here, like
right.
2 full years, uninterrupted years.
Yeah.
And so the idea of switching a coach and getting immediate results in that first year because of that coaching switch, I mean, in my opinion, pretty low. So to
Well, yeah, and what I was gonna get at is that you guys, so we talked about kids going around,
oh yeah.
but the other crazy one is the coaches going
Hmm.
around, man. Like
Yeah.
I would be very interested to see like how unique it is for people to be in a position like yours for as long as you've been in it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's rare. I mean, people see me all the
Like
time.
how rare? How rare do you think?
I don't know. Like, I don't know of any. I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know of any other multis or jumps assistant coaches in our league that have been at their school as long as I have. Um,
But even around the country, I mean,
yeah.
the problem is it was a problem whenever I was jumping,
Yeah.
like whenever I
Oh,
was going to transfer or not
yeah.
transfer, when I was going into college, like
Yeah.
I was very concerned about that. Is like this whole idea that you're being recruited by someone and it's very likely that you will not do 4 years with them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean to go back, I will mention Jeff Martin at Indiana State has been there a really long time, and he's one of my like kind of one of my peers in our conference.
Yeah.
But super super rare, and I do think that that's something to look at when you're being recruited. Not just has the coach been there a long time, but like has the coach had very clear opportunity, like is their resume strong enough that they've clearly had opportunity to not be there and chosen to stay, right?
Yeah. Right.
And I think that you want to be somewhere like that.
Yeah, you want consistency. Like if I'm gonna choose to uproot my life and stay and commit to somebody for 4 or 5 years, like I'm not committing. A lot of times people are not committing to the University of Northern Iowa. They're committing to Jeff Coover or they're
Hmm.
committing to whoever the coach is.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's the school. But a lot of times, especially in my position, like whenever I was vaulting again going into college, I was just like, dude, I'm not really going here for any. This is really bad. You should definitely go for academics and all of those things. But
Oh
I'm
yeah.
I'm going back in time to my 18-year-old self. I was like, I want to get better at pole vaulting. Period. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
And I was like, what person is going to be able to get me to
Yeah.
that spot,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's what I really was looking for. And so the issue is that like whenever I talk with our athletes, I'll just say, you know, in a nice, polite way, like if you're going on a recruiting visit, just try to do a little bit of digging. Like
Yeah.
those coaches have done some digging into your life
Yeah.
and seeing like, okay, like what type of financial situation does this kid have? What type of parent
Yeah.
situation does
Yeah.
this kid have? Like, so they're doing some personal digging. And so I'm always like, hey, do a little bit of digging yourself. Like, hey, do you have a family?
Right.
Cause like you know are your kid do you have a family? Okay, yeah, I have a family. Are your kids, do they go to school around here? Like how integrated with that community are you? Because like Jeff Coover is probably not going to want to up and leave right now because he has a family, he's been raising his family here.
Yeah.
Another one that is a little crazy is like, okay, well, they've got, those things. Do they rent? Do they own? Like,
Oh,
cause
for
like,
sure.
so if
No,
they
you're
rent,
you're
then they're
nailing
probably
like
going to be out of here.
truly. It's funny you mentioned that because when parents ask me, this is the only time I would volunteer this information really, but like when parents, usually it's parents that ask, because they want their kid to be in
Stable.
the hands of the person that they're kind of choosing for as long as possible. And so it's one of my favorite questions to field, actually, like what's your status here? And I always lead with that. I say, we got 2 kids. They love school. We own our home, and I have 5 rental houses here.
You ain't
So
going nowhere.
I'm purposely not going anywhere, like I'm intentionally putting as many roots down here as I can. And the last arm of that is anybody, any coach that promises you, if you come here 5 years into your tenure, I will still be here, is lying.
Yeah,
You
right.
just can't know that,
Hmm.
because anything can happen.
Yep.
A head coach can get fired. The administration can decide to cut, men's track, or cut both track teams, or like anything can happen. So like
Yeah.
I always add that caveat at the end. Is like, I am intentionally setting down roots here. I love my head coach. I love my boss. I love my athletics director. I love being at UNI. I love Cedar Falls. I like everything. I love my house. We're doing awesome. And like, I would love to keep doing this as long as I can. And
Hmm.
also, the rug can get pulled out from any coach and any program at any time.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah.
we're going to do our best, but yeah. So, but no, that's great. That's great advice. I think that's awesome advice.
Because like yeah, like you said, like you can't predict, if you're going to be there in 5 years or whatnot. But what you can do is you can, develop some sort of likely outcome by asking those questions. Like, okay, like is it likely that if they're young, they're just out of college, they're single, they they like rent an
Yeah.
apartment or something, they're probably looking for the next best thing,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
not. I mean, I don't think it's too hard to detect to detect the person that's on a springboard,
Yeah.
or
Right, right.
intentionally trying to be on a springboard. And some people want that. Hey, I'll come with you at UNI and or whatever school, and if in 2 years you get this big time job, I'll go with you. But
Yeah.
I love being at UNI. I love the quote unquote mid major life. I love rolling into regionals or whatever, and seeing people I haven't seen in forever, and they're like, "Still you and I," and I'm like, "I'm still alive, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
still I'm still doing it there. I just like it's my favorite thing." And I don't know. I think maybe it's a little bit of the old school. Like I'm kind of an old soul, and uh,
Yeah.
just the idea of building something and doing something. And this goes for coach and athlete, but like building something and doing something in one place consistently through like just a ton of consistent hard work is that's what I identify with,
Hmm.
and that's what I love. And yeah, I don't know how rare it is really, but
Something
I
tells
like
me that it's pretty rare because we
I
we
like it.
I don't know very many people that have gone through like well, I guess there are some that we've worked with that have gone through and had the same coach and things like that. I'm not saying that it's just like running rampant and like Jeff
No,
is the only coach. Like there's lots of coaches that
yeah.
have been there at their universities for a long time and things like that. But I just hear about it a lot where it's like, oh, my coach left
Hmm.
or the other one too is like this idea of this transfer portal creating a situation where um you can show up like whenever we were going into college, you and I, it was like, all right, I'm gonna invest this money in this freshman and we're gonna develop this freshman and he's kind of our guy, you
Yep.
know? And now you can be that guy, and then when you show up on campus, there can be a new guy
Yep.
like that just came out of nowhere, like
Yep.
flew in from the side, and it's just like, oh, now I'm not the guy. Hey, you're gonna redshirt, or you're going to, you
Yeah.
know, not be able to do this. You should probably enter the portal, like type of
Yeah.
thing, you know?
Yeah. No, that's happening all over the place. And I'm really trying hard not to do it,
Yeah.
and because like I make certain promises to kids on the recruiting trail, and I really that means a lot to me. Like that really means a lot to me. Um, Not just to kids, but to their families, you know? So like I promise them, like, if you come here, we're all in on you and we're gonna get you competitive opportunities. Like you're gonna get out there and wear the uniform and compete. You know, if you're
Hmm.
healthy, we're recruiting you because you have serious talent. And like then it's our job to develop that. And so part of that is like you getting here and being able to put on the uniform, go out, get on the bus, go to the meets, compete, right? And
Yeah.
so I say that all the time in recruiting, and we hold ourselves to it. And I think we do a really good job of making sure to get our kids out there and competing as often as possible, no matter their level. I think we're one of the programs that gives our kids the most competitive opportunities, you know? And so bringing somebody in that's going to sacrifice that for a kid that I promised it to is just like something that I think is not great. You know, our sport, it's a little bit better than, for example, like football, like there's one quarterback, or like
Yeah, that's true.
wrestling is crazy right now. And in
Really.
wrestling, you know, there's 10 weight classes, and you know, when you field a team, you field one per weight class. And so, for example, we have a kid right now on the team at UNI that came from Iowa. He's an All-American at Iowa. So All-American's pretty good, but top three is better. And
Yeah.
they brought in a guy at his weight that had been top three, and they were kind of like, well, you're gonna have to wrestle for your spot now. And he was like seventh or eighth the year before, and uh,
Wow.
and so he transferred to UNI from Iowa. I mean, Iowa's like blue blood program, you know, and
Yeah.
he was just like, I don't really want anything to do with this, and so he transferred to UNI, and he's on our starting roster now. So, um, you know, it's unfortunate that that's a part of, you know, that's a part of the transfer portal world, because I sure wish that it wasn't, and it's unfair to the kids that that come with a certain idea and then kind of end up with a different reality.
Well,
So
yeah, and it's like it's a the hard part too is that it's a two-way street. Like you had mentioned a couple minutes ago, like, hey, I need 2 years. And the kid's
yeah,
like, hey, I need 2 years. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
like
yeah,
like what the heck, man? You're giving me 2 years, or
right.
I'm giving you 2 years,
You got
and
to give it
then
to
you
me.
gave me 6 months?
Yeah,
Like, what the heck, man? I
yeah,
didn't even
no.
get a chance to settle down. Like, I just completely uprooted myself. I've never lived by myself. I've never done any of this. This is a crazy experience. This is the biggest experience of my life ever so far.
Hmm.
And I got one off season, one fall that I got to try to like prove my worth. It's like, what the heck, man? And
Yeah,
then that is what drives me nuts is there's the loyalty part to it, but it's kind of almost like the double standard. Because I agree with your point. Like, dude, I can't do very much in a single season. I can't do, too much, like really big significant improvement, especially at a person who's like, you can do that with a beginner, but like with someone who's coming out of high school, they're pretty proficient. They're at the top end of what they're going to be able to do athletically. Like getting them to having significant improvement is going to take a couple years. But then at the same time, some of these programs, it's like, well, yeah, uh, we need you to do it right now. Like
yeah,
we need the athlete to do it right now.
yeah, and that's more common now as well. I'm proud to say that in my time at UNI, I've never cut a single athlete. I've never
Wow, that's
gotten rid of
awesome.
anybody. Um, I don't think that our head coach, we have never gotten rid. I don't think we've ever gotten rid of anybody that wasn't on a tryout basis. So every once in a while,
Mhm.
our roster is pretty full. A kid will do really well at the end of the senior year. Hey, can I be on the team? And we'll say like you can try out, you know, in the fall. But I mean, like 90% of our tryout kids end up on the roster.
Yeah.
So, and you know, I'm pretty like that's a pretty solid stat, I think.
Yeah.
I just can't think of very many kids that haven't made it even as a tryout. But I've never in my 8 years now at UNI, like I've never sat down with a kid and told them we need to move on from you ever. So, and I'm again very very lucky, because that conversation would not be very fun for me. I would not like that. That would not be
Right.
something that and you know, to kind of switch gears into like this roster caps situation.
Yes.
that
I
everybody's
don't I
talking
don't
about.
even know what this is. So
Right. So this is in this is related to making cuts and stuff like that. So basically, at some point last year, kind of this point last year, maybe a little bit after this point last year, I don't remember. The NCAA kind of came up with this idea that they were going to cap the roster size of every sport. Okay, so they were going to come up with these numbers that were going to be like the maximums that you were able to carry on your roster, depending on whichever sport. And for track and field, that number is 45. So at the time, we were carrying about 55, 53, 55 guys, something in there, and closer to 65 girls. And so this information came out, hey, NCAA is going to cap rosters at 45. Well,
is that combined or is that
no, that's
per?
total. 45 per, so 90 total.
Okay, gotcha.
And so we
Yeah,
had like
yeah.
100, we had like 120 kids on the roster, or whatever.
Right.
And they were like, you're gonna, we're looking at 90. Well, we immediately basically started having conversations with our compliance director and with other coaches and with basically anyone we could get a hold of. It was like my boss was like, call everybody you can get a hold of and figure out what the heck is going on. And we all kind of reconvened and kind of figured out through word of mouth and through kind of like how these things go typically, that those roster numbers were most likely not going to be held in place for some time. So like there were going to be lawsuits. It was going to get tied up in court. Like something was going to happen, most likely, that was going to delay this, right? So
Yeah.
like the way I like to put it is like our head coach basically went, my boss, Dave Paulson, who's the best. I'll plug him as many times as I can. He basically went into full survival mode of like, how do we take care of the kids that we have on our team? How do we make sure that the kids that we, again, sat in a recruiting situation with and promised you're going to have a roster spot, you're going to be on this team, you're going to be a big part of what we're doing. How do
Hmm.
we make sure to take care of those kids and keep them here? And so we assembled all this information. We kind of figured out like, okay, this is probably going to take a while. Like we're probably okay. And I think that the evidence is pretty strong that a lot of other programs didn't do it that way. So they kind of took that information, the 45 person roster, and used it as kind of like their reason to trim the fat of their roster.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, sorry, my hands are tied. NCAA is saying we got to get our roster size down. You're not doing it for us. You got to go, but it's not my fault. You
Right. Right.
know. And so the unfortunate situation was that there was this huge panic for no reason. So like kids were getting cut left and right for no reason, in my opinion, for no reason, because eventually, about 6 or 8 months down the road, as we're kind of in a holding pattern and really trying to figure out how to take care of our kids and what we can do, a judge basically made a decision that there was going to be an eventual kind of grandfathering situation. Everybody that was on a roster right now could be like designated as kind of safe from all these roster cuts. And you could kind of trim down over time. And
Yeah.
I
Right.
forget what the timeline is, but like we have like 4 or 5 years to like get down to 45, basically.
Right.
It was like the house is not on fire, actually. You know what I mean?
Dang,
Uh,
good for you guys, like keeping your cool, and whoever advised you guys on that did a great job
yeah, no, I
so
agree. And
far.
I'm super like, we'll have kids that get recruited by 4 or 5 different schools, and to be able to sit there and say we've made zero cuts. You should ask your other programs, like how many cuts they've
Yeah,
made.
right, right, right.
Um, I'm just very, it just, I have an immense amount of pride in our culture at UNI and what we're trying to do. And I think that we try really hard to do it the right way. Um, and I'm sure that kind of shows through now. And it's not just the track team, it's the whole athletics department under the direction of our AD, Megan Franklin. She's just fantastic. And just like, it's really like making sure to take care of the student athletes first, which I think is just like the whole scope of this conversation is just like how increasingly rare I think that is, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. So
So
so how does that so I mean I totally respect everything that you guys are doing there, and it's really awesome. And what I'm trying to figure out is why you guys are able to do that and other people aren't.
no, yeah, I mean, I think everybody could. I do. I think there's a kind of bloodthirsty mentality around collegiate sports these days that doesn't necessarily need to be there. And the reality is, dude, like we might lose more. Like we might not be as good as we could possibly be if we weren't as cutthroat, bloodthirsty, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Right. I know what you're
ruthless,
saying.
you
Yeah.
know? So we might not be as good at track and field, but that's okay, you know?
Right.
Um, and I think that at other places, that's not a trade-off that's, interesting to them. So,
It's like
yeah,
real crazy business. Like it's
right. Yeah. Yeah.
like real like I always think about that, about how the bigger that your business gets, like I think it just takes a certain type of person to get to a certain level of business, because you kind of have to be able to
Yeah.
like do those really crazy, things and be
Yeah.
much more cutthroat. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
an absolute, like if it's absolutely true, but so that's what I'm trying. Another thing that one of the athletes at Rise the other day was like, you know, sh- they were talking about how they wanted to go to, I want to dream big, and I want to go to these big schools. And I was like, well, you should really, do some real thinking about that first. Like maybe you don't really understand exactly what it is that you're signing up for, or, what are the pluses and minuses of doing that. So I guess I've been hearing just like kind of horror stories from people going to these big schools, SEC schools, Big Ten schools, things like that, where it's just, it's not even, it's kind of not even close to in the same realm as what you were talking about. Why do you think that is? And is that any truth to that at all?
No, I definitely think that there's truth to that. And I should mention, by the way, backing up really quick, I should mention we are doing decent at track. So, our, I say that, and it's true. It is true that there are some decisions we could make to get some more national qualifiers or whatever. But like we won,
Oh yeah,
we
yeah.
won our conference championship last year on the men's side. Our women were third indoors and outdoors. Like they're killing it. They're doing good. We had like 16 regional qualifiers. Like we're doing fine. Um, but the to answer your next question, sort of. I mean, I do think that reality that is the reality. So like the perception is the reality, that it's like very much what have you done for me lately? I mean, there's a colleague of mine that's a power four coach and that I won't name, but last year he told me I have no interest in development. So like I have no interest in basically like bringing a kid on that's doesn't that's not a scorer or a qualifier or a performer and turning them into one. It's like my whole job. I want my whole job to be finding the kids that come in and they just do it automatically. And like you
Dang.
said, if that's true and you are really committed to it, and it really is what gets you up in the morning and all that, and you're actually motivated by it, like you're probably going to win some track meets.
Yeah,
But for me,
maybe.
like the student athlete experience goes down, and like I don't know, like I'm in it for the opposite reasons. I'm in it to bring on a 17-foot long jumper that jumps 20 feet and wins the conference championship, which is what happened with
Yeah,
one of my gals last year. And I'm in it for the 11-foot pole vaulter that's our school record holder on the women's side that jumped 13.6.
right.
Um, that's that's what I like. That's
That's
what I'm
really cool.
interested in. So there are a lot of coaches that find their way to some of those bigger programs, and there are tons of Power Four coaches in the pole vault, in the jumps, in the multis that are awesome, that are great, that are doing it for the
Hmm.
right reasons, that are developing, that are coaching their butts off every single day to try and squeeze everything they can and out of each kid to make sure that they get on these cool trips and all this stuff. Like there are tons of coaches that are doing things the right way, but I do think that there are a lot of coaches that find their way to those places that are not as interested in development and
That's a different actually really interesting. That's a whole different thing then. Like
different thing.
that's not even really like
Coaching.
coaching. Like
Yeah.
it's really like, okay, I am going to be the best recruiter. And so then
Right.
you would go about it in a completely different
Totally different.
way. I
Yeah.
never thought
And
about that.
again, like there's some people that are super motivated by that and fired up by it and that's what they want to do and that's great. Like I have passed no judgment on that. I know that it's impossible to talk about this without me like seeming like I'm passing judgment on that because I do believe, like that what the way that we try to do it has value and is really really good for the student athlete. But um yeah, there's some people that go about it just as like much more of a business mentality and use certain recruiting services and that sort of thing to like get these blue chip kids that are immediate scorers or qualifiers right off the bat, and the more of those kids they can get, the happier they are. And um you know
I don't
that's
understand.
a different thing.
I'll
It's a
knock
different
it.
thing.
I'll knock it for you. So this whole idea of like, just like, all right, let's get them in, let's get them scoring, and like, I'm not interested in development. The problem that I'm seeing in that is because like the sport, the event, the the pole vault doesn't really care about the situation. Like it is
Right.
difficult, like there is no, you can't buy your way around the sport of the pole vault because like as a discipline, like the sport
Right.
is as a discipline, like running down the runway, planting the pole into the box, flipping upside down and going over the bar. Like the pole vault doesn't care how much money you throw at it or whatever. So like the idea of like, all right, I'm gonna get a kid that jumps, let's say 17, 540 out of high school. And it's like, okay, they jump 540 now. Well, you better have some idea of how to either maintain a 540 vaulter
Yeah,
or develop a 540 vaulter. And then I would argue that those are the same thing.
those are the same.
You
Those
know?
are the same thing. Yes.
Because
Yeah.
that's the thing. And the thing is like if you could bring them there, you could bring them there. But the thing is that the pole vault is going to beat the crap out of that person regardless.
Yep.
Like it doesn't matter if it's the best university, if it's a full scholarship, if they're making millions of dollars in NIL money. It doesn't matter because the sport of the pole vault, the discipline of the pole vault will humble everyone. Like
Yep.
everyone will be humbled to by it,
No matter what, every
no
single
matter
person.
what.
No, it's true.
And
It's
so then
true.
the idea of like, okay, I'm gonna get them in there and then just kind of just like get the right people in the right seats, like that's a really important piece for sure. But the idea that you can just drive the bus straight to the top is it's completely ridiculous because those people, unless they're developed properly and shown like this is how you compete in college, this is how you go through hard times. This is how you manage your schoolwork whenever you're doing college
Right.
athletics. Like
Yep.
if you don't do that and develop that person,
Yep.
then they're going to come in as a 540 vaulter and then they're going to be a 490 vaulter in
Real quick.
like in
Real
like
quick.
a year, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That
No.
drives me nuts.
The unfortunate part about that is the places that are doing that and bringing that 540 guy that turns into a 490 guy just get rid of the guy. You know?
Yeah, and then they just flip them and then they're like, "Man, we're turning over a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
why can't we get
Yeah.
anybody to be consistent at 550? What the heck,
Right.
man?" And it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
well, it's because you're not really, developing them or giving them an opportunity to develop. And that's the other thing too. Okay? This is an idea that I've just been wrestling with for the past few years is this idea of the pole vault doesn't care. That's the continual thing that goes into my brain. Like the pole vault doesn't care. Like, hey, let's give this kid uh, a year to try out. The pole vault doesn't care. it doesn't operate on a time frame. Like it's hard no matter what. Like so it could be like you can't put a time frame on it really, you know? So it's
Yeah.
really it doesn't make sense to me
No,
when people do that.
I posted a thing the other day about one of my girls, Sydney, and she's really cool. She's from Illinois. And she's been with me. This is her fourth year with me. She's going to do another year, but um, she was pretty good in high school. Came on her freshman year, and she's just had the worst luck, like the
Mm.
worst luck. She got mono. She broke her foot. She had a back injury. Like, just has had. She finally was looking good, and then she ran through the pit one time. Where she's not a huge run through person. Ran through the pit and rolled her ankle, blew her ankle up in the pit. Like just has had such bad luck. The pole vault did not care
No.
for 3 years and she had glimpses. So she jumped a PR last year, 2 years ago, indoor, maybe last year indoor, I can't remember, and like scored at the conference championships, and that was cool. But like that was off like I remember she had her ankle all taped up, crazy because she was still coming back off this ankle injury, and she's just like has had, it's really truly just been bad luck,
Yeah.
and and just getting beaten down by the pole vault, by the event, by the sport, by training
Hmm.
for it, and by whatever. And like we'll get her back going, and then she has a setback, and then now this fall, and I'm trying to speak as many things into existence as I can these days, so that I don't give any credence to like jinxing it thing. But like this fall, she has been on fire, like killing
Yeah.
it. So good, way better than ever before. Like I don't remember her being able to usually do like 4 or 5 jump sessions in a row without having something come up. So we finally got this method where she jumps in flats and then she jumps in spikes, and then like she jumped in flats for like 5 weeks, and then now she kind of like alternates between them, and she does a lot of training in flats, and then like if anything, we've like modified her everything to like make sure, and we finally got it down, and I think she's loving it. She's part of a group that she's really in tune with, and she's excited to come to practice every day. And it has taken until her fourth year for her to
Right.
really block, like come alive.
Right.
And now she looks so good, and I'm so excited for the season for her. I think she's going to jump high. um but like how easy it would have been for either her or for us to just, hey man, the pole vault's not working for you,
Yeah.
whatever. But like for me, it's a kid like Sydney in her second or third year on her fourth or fifth injury or unlucky injury or whatever. Those are the kids that keep me up at night, where I'm like, I gotta get Sydney. Like I might have, like I have Carter Morton's a heptathlon national qualifier, and he got fifth place at the national championships last year, and I coach him directly. And Carter, I'm like, he's good, don't worry about him. Sydney Scott, how do I get Sydney
Yeah.
back to jumping the way she jumped?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
to me, those are the most rewarding and the most fun, and the best things about coaching is like I'm like sitting out there last week watching her jump and just smiling. Just it was like at
That's
dusk,
awesome.
and she was just taking jump after jump after jump after jump, and she would walk over for correction, and I was just literally like I couldn't coach her. Like I was
Uh-huh.
just smiling and just being like, I just want to keep watching you pole vault,
Yeah.
Like just take another jump, take another
That's
jump,
sweet,
just go
man.
again, just take another jump. And usually also the way the pole vault is, like if that's your instruction, probably each jump's going to get a little sharper, a little crisper, a little cleaner, a little more intentional, and then like there's improvement. Sometimes you don't need to put your left foot here and your left wrist there and the blah 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 blah. Sometimes just being out there and your coach just being like, I'm loving watching you jump right now. This is you just like you're killing it and it's enjoyable for me. Then they have an awesome session after that. So I kind of
That's
spiraled,
awesome.
I kind of spiraled out of control there, but like, that's
That
that
leads, yeah.
that's exactly I feel like that really encapsulates your whole thing, like the pole vault not caring,
You
it's
can't
just
put a time frame on it. You
it's a
can't you
wait your
can't
turn
box
thing.
it in because it's its own thing and we're trying to tame it,
Right.
like it's like it will beat everyone. Like it's like trying to go against nature, like it's
You
just
know,
like
I
not gonna
remember
work.
we were all waiting for Mondo to do his thing that he's doing now for like a long time. You know, when he jumped 605 when he was in high school, right before he got to LSU, he jumped 605. And then he went to LSU and he jumped 6 meters like once.
Hmm.
And I think he did another year where he didn't PR. Because I remember at one point him being like, I never watched the 605 video because it's like, it's, it's my PR video. And it's like, I want it to not be my PR anymore. You know, like he was done with
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And so even for a guy like him, like I think he went like 2 years without PRing. And then I remember that he showed up. I was watching in my office. He showed up to like his first meet of the year was like Karlsruhe or something, like this little meet in indoors. And he made the bar. He made 570, like it was his second height. He made 570 by so much that I was like, that is not the right height.
They messed up. Yeah.
They messed up, you know. And then but then two more guys jumped and like missed it. There were like 580 guys, you know, that I'm like, maybe that is in the red spot. And then it was like all of a sudden Mondo was like here.
Yeah.
Mondo's here now. All of a sudden, you know,
Right.
after a year or whatever of like, oh, like he's still so awesome and so good. And but Chris beat him at NCAA's, you know, and it's
Hmm.
like, remember that? Like his last
Oh
client
yeah.
meet, Chris beat him and he went to Worlds and Sam beat him at Worlds. And it was kind of like, all right, so like he's still good, but like maybe he's not like the guy, you know, that we thought he was. And then all of a sudden, boom, he was like, I'm here. And then that meet, the first meet, he tried the world record. He almost made it, didn't make it.
Yeah, I
The,
remember that one.
the next meet, he made it for the first time. And then it was like,
That
all
was
all
insane.
hell broke loose. But he had to wait a minute, you know?
Yeah.
And,
And a
and
lot of times you do. And you know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for him, I'm sure, all the time too. I mean, there's probably lots of stuff that you don't see on the internet that are
yeah,
happening behind the scenes that it's like because sometimes people, you know, think like, oh, well, it must be it's easy to be Mondo now. Like it's easy. And it's like, dude, no, somebody still has to show up and like do the work in order to be able to do that. Like you don't just roll out of bed after 3 months of doing nothing and jump those bars. You know,
no,
like
no.
there's actually stuff he's doing. Like he goes to practice and you
Very
know,
intentional. He trains very hard. Yeah, he trains very smart and he trains very hard. But
right.
he does have an intense love for the sport and the event. And but yeah, no, it'll break you down and bring you back up. And you know, there was even, you know, he broke the world record, I think, indoor of last year, not this past indoor, but the one before it. But like he almost lost at European indoors. He was like up against it. Might have been world indoors. It was world indoors with Sam and some other guys. He was kind of up against. He had a third attempt at like 585 or 90 or something.
Oh wow.
And like it was like if he misses, he loses the world championships, you know? And then yeah, it was the Olympic year. So it was the and then he like went back to the drawing board and like came back for the outdoor season, which is like unbeatable, completely unbeatable. So
Dude's a
no,
machine.
that's like the sport. And you know, to get back to the kind of the whole frame of this conversation, in those moments, the unfortunate thing is it's very easy. It's very easy in those moments to be like, this isn't working. The coach isn't working. The school isn't working. The facility isn't working. The
Yeah.
training isn't working. And it's almost never that. It's almost never that.
Right.
It's really just like like which way are the stars pointing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and like as if you just wait a while, they're gonna be pointed the right way, and then you're gonna get on the 3 week heater of pole vaulting, you know?
Yeah,
And
you're sometimes you're just not in it long enough for it to compound. Like it's
totally
just like being in the market. Like it's like if you sell off after a dip every single time, then you're going to have no money left. But if you just
like
allow stuff to compound, it will be good. But don't sell before you get to have the compounding effect, you know?
right. Don't yeah. A million percent, yes. And this whole situation, the NCAA situation now has made it really easy for kids to say, well, I'm in a rut and it's because I need to switch schools or it's because I need to switch coaches.
Right.
Um, and in a sport like the pole vault, that's just really hard, you know? And
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
I'm I'm really glad to be able to work with the kids that I work with for as long as I get to work with them because I mean, I don't know. I could use anecdotal evidence all over the place, but like Brendan has been my best guy. So Brendan Safley from last year, and I brought him in. He was a 15-foot pole vaulter, and now he has a 18. He's an 18-foot pole vaulter. But
That's
it
awesome.
took same deal. Like it took. We went to war with the pole vault
Mhm.
for 5 years. I mean, me and Brendan went to freaking war with the pole vault. Every day was like strap on your armor and go into battle for real. Like he fought it so hard, and I did too. And it was like, this is working. This isn't working. This isn't working. This is working. There's a glimmer of hope. There's no hope. There's no hope. This is terrible. Oh wait, you're gonna win everything. Oh no, you can't jump over 15. Like you can't make a bar. And
Right.
at the end of it, like he's an 18-foot pole vault. He won conference a bunch of times, and he's just it's just like but it would have been really easy for him at some point to give up and give in and
Yeah.
go somewhere else or quit pole vaulting or whatever. And he had the same deal one time. One day he came up short in a meet and he landed on his feet and he blew his ankle up really bad. He had an avulsion fracture in his ankle. Um, and so it's just like, yeah, the sport will just wear on you. But like, I don't know, to all the athletes out there, to all the athletes that are with a club, with a high school, with a college, with whatever, it's like there are a million ways to get better at the pole vault. There are a million drills. There are a million ways to pole vault, poles to use, ways to train, ways to lift weights, ways to sprint. Like there's a million different ways, and they all work.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
they all work. And if you're consistent with them, if you just stick with it and give it time and
Hmm.
believe and trust that what you're doing is going to work, because it will. Like there are better, sure, I as a coach, like of course I believe there are better and worse ways to train for the pole vault and to prepare for the pole vault, and I also don't believe that I have all the answers. Like I'm the first one to say, like, I don't think I have that many of the answers actually, but I have a system that I've kind of assembled based on going around and being annoying to people and asking a lot of questions and figuring out like I kind of look at like what's everybody doing, pole vault, college systems, elite pole vaulters, good high school systems, good clubs, like just put together a list of like all the things that all of them are doing and then be like, okay, where are the few things that everybody's doing? Okay, here they all are. And that's what our system is going to be comprised of. It's like those big rock ideas. And so
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers. Like I think we have a pretty decent system. And I think that if you believe in it and you stick with it, just like with any system, like it's gonna work. So
Yeah.
the easiest way, and I'll give you a second to actually talk since I feel like I've been talking for 10 minutes right now.
No, you're good.
The easiest way to guarantee that you won't get better at pole vaulting is to not believe in what you're doing. Like
Hmm.
that will guarantee, like, there's no way to guarantee you will get better at pole vaulting, but that is a way that you will guarantee you will not get better at pole vaulting
Hmm.
is to go down this road of we're preparing the wrong way. The coach doesn't know what he's doing. The poles aren't right. Whatever. Like any of those things, if you go down that road of like it's out of my hands, this is not this situation is not going to work, then it absolutely will not work.
Right.
So you have to avoid that at all costs. Like you have to avoid that because being bought in is like the only thing that's really important. Being bought in and having consistency.
Yeah.
It's
Step
yeah,
one, find somebody who knows what they're doing, who
yeah,
genuinely does know what they're doing. Step
right.
two, buy in and
Yep.
and buy in for the long term. Like
Yep.
that's your best chance of a pathway to what I always say is to realize your ultimate potential, like to actually get to where you could, everyone has that ultimate potential that they could potentially get to.
Yeah.
And, to get to as close as that as possible, you have to be able to pick, you got to be able to find somebody who genuinely does know what they're doing. Because obviously, if you buy into something that is like, you know, really bad, then it's not going to really work. But you find somebody that is knows what they're talking about, buy into it, and then just commit for the long term. Um, so there's a couple other things that I just wanted to get some clarification around because we did what did we do? We did roster limits. Okay, that
Yep.
was a weird one. So
Yeah.
right now, currently, it's
As
not a big deal.
it's not a huge deal. It shouldn't be for almost anybody, especially in mid majors.
What is mid majors? You said that a couple times.
It's anything besides Power Four, basically. So like we're in a
Okay,
mid major conference. We're in the Missouri Valley Conference with Indiana State and Illinois State and some others, and
gotcha,
we're a mid major conference. So like a big
gotcha.
conference, but like middle size, I guess. So not the Big 12, the Big 10, the and well, there's no more Pac-12. What are the others? The ACC and the SEC, I guess.
Yeah.
Those are the
Okay.
big. Those are the
Power
big four
four, whatever.
conferences. Everything else is a mid major.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha.
so roster limits right now, we're just in the process of like kind of weaning down. So over the next few years, it'll be like if we graduate 6 kids, we'll try to bring in 4.
Okay, so they're gonna eventually do these roster limits, but it's not going to be like, all right, now like it's just a mass cutting
No, yeah.
of people.
The judge said we're not going to do a thing where you have to go from 60 to 45 all at once like that because
Yeah.
there's
Well,
also
good on that judge because
yes,
that's
absolutely.
pretty savage.
Right.
And then the other one that we talked about was the transfer portal.
Right.
And so then now there's this other one too of NIL money and
Yes.
like NIL stuff, which in my I don't know much about it. I'm hoping you know a little bit about it to help me. But to me, it seems like you can make money on your name, image, or likeness. But it to me it poses like a problem of like even if you're like really, really good at pole vaulting or track and field, I think like really your only chance of making any NIL money is probably if you're running a really popular social media
Right.
channel.
Million percent.
Um, which to me is like, to us a little bit more old school, kind of like Core Lord esque of the pole vault. We're getting there, but like that just is like,
A little icky, right?
man, that is real gross.
Yeah.
Like it's like, yeah, well, we would want you, but this
Yeah.
person over here, they got 100,000 followers or whatever, and it's like, gosh, dang, man.
Yep.
So then it becomes about something totally different. It's like the recruiting thing, like where it's like, okay, now we got pole vault coaches that are not really trying to do pole vault coaching. They're trying to recruit. And then now we've got athletes that are really not trying to be athletes. They're trying to be influencers. And it's like a weird situation.
Yeah, you're completely, completely weird situation. You're completely correct. Your best chance of making money in NIL and track and field, especially in the pole vault, is to be a really popular social media influencer. Um, and that's
That's,
it. Full
that's
stop.
so.
Like that's it. And so you and we don't deal with NIL like with track. We don't deal with it at all. And again, another place that I feel really fortunate in recruiting. We don't have the conversation.
You don't even have it.
Never. No. I mean, if a parent brings it up, we just kind of say that's just not really something that anything like it's not
How does
something.
it work though? Where does the money come from? I don't, so
So
can you
for
explain
NIL, there's two
that?
different things going on right now, right? So there's NIL and there's revenue sharing. So
Oh,
NIL, and I'll go into both. So NIL, name, image, and likeness, that's basically completely on the student athlete to arrange it. I mean, that's actually not exactly true, but that's basically like I'm going to do a social media ad for underwear, and then they're going to give me $10,000, and
gotcha.
that's very common.
It's like a side hustle.
Side hustle. Most of the time, like with our athletes, when they do things, it's I'm going to promote the Rain energy drinks, and they're going to send me a case of Rain energy drinks.
Yeah.
That's like pretty much how it goes, which is a good deal. It's better
Not
than we didn't
terrible.
have that,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't, we weren't able to do that.
I like
But
green
like
energy drinks.
again, like I have a kid that was fifth at the national championships in the heptathlon. He made USA's. He got seventh at the USA championships this year in the decathlon, and like he's in that same boat of like get some free supplements, some free energy drinks, protein,
Yeah,
like um
but they're not throwing cash around,
no,
really.
no, and so then there's this other and some athletes, some places like Texas A&M and some places, um, there are some real NIL supporters for track and field that
Hmm.
are giving significant amounts of money to athletes. Pole vaulters, not so much. But like sprinters that can score and that are prevalent and all that sort of thing. Yeah, there are some donors. Maybe there's a donor that owns a car dealership or something that is going to give the athlete a dealer car to drive during their 4 years, or maybe they do. That athlete does a promo for the dealership and they pay him $5,000 or whatever. Like that does happen. We don't deal with it at all, but it does happen in the pole vault world. That shouldn't even be on, in my opinion, should not be on anybody's radar when they're being recruited. Um, Almost basically anybody. So then there's this other.
So there's no way, like there's no backdoor stuff going
Oh, of
on
course,
with.
I'm sure there is. No, there is, and you hear about it more in other sports, but you do hear about it in track and field, mostly with more prominent events, sprints and distance and all that sort of thing, and throws, where and because the coaches are not supposed to be involved and not supposed to know like the numbers and that sort of thing, but you definitely do hear of like a coach is friends with the guy that owns a car dealership. The car dealership guy says, "Hey, get us a 10-second sprinter, and I got 10 grand for you." And
Mm,
that coach then goes to that person and says, "Hey, if you come, you get 10 grand," which is totally illegal, but it's done. It's happening.
it
It's
happens.
very much happening.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
More in other sports than ours, but definitely in our sport as well.
So before we go to revenue sharing, so this is actually interesting to me. So like if somebody wanted to like do an NIL deal with a pole vaulter, um, yeah, because like I'm trying to think of like who like you would it would be somebody in the pole vault industry. Like if a pole brand wanted to do like an NIL deal, like you know what I'm saying? Like I just
Yeah,
don't see it because the just from a purely business angle, it's
it's
like
not a business
okay,
thing. NIL has
yeah,
never really been like a value based industry. So it's I want to watch this kid in the school that in the colors that I like. Basically,
yeah,
it's not this guy's going to sell $5,000 worth of Ford for me or whatever.
right, right.
It's not a value based industry at all. So it's really just donors and supporters, and this is true in basketball and football as well. I mean, in basketball and football, they deal more in these NIL collectives, which is another thing. So NIL collective is basically a group that collects money for NIL, and then they can distribute that however they want. Okay. So let's say you and me are big fans of UNI track and field. You and me
Hmm.
are huge UNI track and field fans. Well, we're going to take it upon ourselves to commit some time to assembling an alumni base and creating a collective. So we're going to tell this alumni base of 200 people, hey, all of you guys give us $50, and we're going to put all this money together, and we're going to pay some of these athletes. We're going to give athletes money to come to UNI track and field. So that's a collect. So there's like basically a big bank account that collects all that cash, and then they distribute it however they want. Now it has to be tied to some form of like occupation. So the most common thing that people do is like a signing party, or like they come work at a camp or something like that, right? So the
Mm.
collective, let's say the collective comes up with $1,000 for a pole vaulter at UNI. They say, hey, you're going to get this $1,000 to come to UNI and pole vault at UNI, and you just got to do in the winter we're going to do a camp. You got to come for an hour, help with the pole vault, sign a couple t-shirts. That's to us that's $1,000 worth of labor, and you get $1,000 from our collective.
Oh,
So like
that's interesting.
The collective at Indiana basketball has like $10 million, you know?
They got a couple dollars, yeah.
Yeah. So like that's predominantly until the revenue sharing stuff starts really clicking. That's predominantly how all these basketball and football players are getting these big lumps of money, is through these collectives. And so
Okay.
the collective kind of communicates with the kid, hey, when you're worth when you come, you're going to be worth $1 million or $800,000 or whatever. And
So
then
is
they
that still like, is that some like, so is that interchangeable with boosters
Yeah, so the boosters now are contributing to the collectives.
to the collectives? And then
Yes.
the collectives are the ones who can say, if you come here, you'll get a full ride scholarship and you get this money.
Right.
Oh, one last thing. Uh, Going quickly back to the what was it? The roster limits. What's the scholarship situation with that? Because remember, it like
Right.
there was like a time where it was like,
Yeah.
hey, everybody is
No,
on full ride or
no.
nobody even participates.
Right. So they're getting rid of the scholarship limit, on each program. So theoretically, every kid could be on a full ride scholarship, right? So that
Hmm.
was another confusing thing that came about was like, oh, now that the roster cap is 45, but you're allowed to give 45 full scholarships, right?
Hmm.
And which is true. And so the story went out. The story that went out was like, okay, every kid that's on the team is going to get a full ride. Well, that's not at all the case, at all the case. And
You
so like
can choose to do that.
you can the department makes the decision how much money basically are, because the scholarships cost the school money, right?
Right,
And
right.
so the department and is going to make the decision, and really the university is going to make the decision on how many scholarships they're going to actually still give to track and field. So in many cases, and in most cases, the actual dollar amount that the track team is allowed to spend on scholarships isn't changing a whole lot. So like
Oh, okay.
a really big school, like, okay, so there are a few, you hear rumors, like you just kind of hear rumors, but I think there are a few schools in the SEC that are saying like we're basically going to give every kid on our roster a full ride, but we're only going to carry like 35 kids, right? But like
Right.
all 35 of them are going to be on a full ride. That's really, 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 really rare.
Okay.
And so like here for us at UNI, even as we dwindle down to that 45 number over time, our scholarship pool, the pool of money that we have to give to scholarship is not changing. So we still have the same X amount of dollars that we can give out
Right.
for scholarships. And the university has kind of said, hey, that's the amount of money that we think is worth it to have a track team for you guys to give away for scholarships. And that's going to stay the same. We're like, yeah, great, sounds good. Like we just keep operating as we were, and that's the case for a lot of Power Four, like bigger schools as well. Like I know I spoke with one SEC coach that's in the same position as me, and he was like, yeah, we might add like two, like
Yeah.
we might go from 12 men's scholarships to like 14, just to say that
Right.
like we went up a little bit, but
Yeah.
like we are not by any means going to start giving every single kid a full ride scholarship. And this is a team that's trying to win national championships. So, um,
Yeah.
every school is allowed to give 45 full scholarships. Now, football teams are probably going to go into full scholarship roster situations. There's a few wrestling teams I think that are going to do the same thing. I think wrestling's allowed to have like 32. There's a few Penn State, Iowa, a few Oklahoma State are probably going to have every kid that's on their roster be on a full ride. Um, but in track and field, that would be super, super rare. And the scholarship landscape, the marketplace for pole vaulters getting scholarships is not and has not changed very much and isn't going to change very much.
So
If that
you
makes
think it's just kind of how it was
Yeah,
before,
yeah, yeah,
basically?
yeah. It hasn't like our method of offering scholarships has not changed at all. And we are not hearing of a lot of things like, and there's not a lot of recruits that are coming to us being like, well, such and such school said I can have a roster spot, and that means that I get a full ride. Like that's not happening.
Okay.
So
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah, no, even really big schools are still doing a lot of walk-on type situations, predominantly for pole vaulters,
Right.
walk-on and partial scholarship kind of things. So it's not like you should go out there expecting that, if you can get on a roster at a big school, it means you're going to get a full ride scholarship.
Right.
But it also doesn't mean that you are not going to get on a team unless you can earn a full ride scholarship.
That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. So then doesn't that kind of bring up the potential? So is there a budget cap or anything
Yeah.
like for schools?
Yeah. So that's dependent on the athletics department, pretty much.
No, like there's no overarching
No.
NCAA cap. So like legitimately if somebody just wanted to like one of the Power 5 conferences, just a school there just wanted to just be like, "Hey, let's do 45 full ride scholarships."
Yeah, and I think that there
They
are a
could do that.
couple. I think that from what we hear, it's like Texas A&M, Arkansas, like a couple schools like that you would think of are gonna try to do that. But I also think that they're gonna carry even smaller rosters. So they're gonna go down to like 32.
Well, okay, but couldn't you go up to the max 45 and
You
then since
could,
there is no budget cap, if the school wouldn't it just boil down to whatever school has the most money?
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's already how it is.
Maybe. Okay. I didn't know. Okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
no. I mean,
That's
in a
already
in
how
a
it
larger
is.
sense, in a larger sense, that's already how it is because of facilities and everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah, 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 yeah. That
Um,
makes sense. Yeah.
so now there is a thing where each conference, especially in the Power Fours, is going to be able to also make a secondary decision on roster sizes. And I think the SEC has said they're going to go down. Every SEC school is going to eventually go down all the way down to 32. So they're not even going to do the 45 thing. They're going to come all the way down to 32. I don't know really why. I don't really understand that, but that was the latest that we heard was that the SEC was going to work its way toward 32 boys and 32 girls on each track and field roster. And that really opens the door for a couple of those schools to then do what you're talking about every kid on the school on the team gets up. But that's still hung up and that's down the line down the road. And the reality is that sounds scary and bad and whatever, but like for me personally, it's like not that it changes a whole lot because I really love coaching 15-foot pole vaulters, but like there's going to be a lot of 17-foot pole vaulters that don't have a home.
Yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
you know,
That's
we have
actually something I did want to talk to you about in just a second. I only have a couple more things. I know you're busy
right.
today. So then the revenue sharing really
Yeah.
quick.
So revenue sharing is basically each school, depending on the conference and depending on their share of the money, is basically getting like TV money. So they're getting a big share that they can eventually just basically give out at will. And this kind of the Wild West right now, so nobody really understands, or I don't quite understand exactly how it works, but like the Big Ten has TV deals, and they get this insane amount of revenue from TV and from football and TV, basketball and TV, whatever. And each school is going to get a percentage of that, and then the school can basically dish that out to directly to athletes. So
Hmm.
it's all that portion of paying athletes is going to come in house, and I think that along with that comes the ability for the school to make basically a contract. So the
Hmm.
school can basically say, "Hey, you're on a 2-year, $30,000 a year contract to play football or to whatever." And
Is that going to hit any track and field programs?
I think it probably will. I know that you can tell I'm pretty tied in with the wrestling team here because at UNI wrestling is really strong, and I'm
Hmm.
just a big fan, and I'm friends with all the coaches, so I talk to them a lot about it. I know that like Iowa wrestling has a significant portion of their revenue share for the school goes to wrestling, probably
Mm.
a bigger share than they need, and they're going to get the ability to start doing that sort of thing with wrestling. I do think at some of these schools, you're going to see some revenue sharing stuff happen with track and field at some of the schools that are really trying to win. I mean, obviously, you think of like Oregon, Arkansas, Texas A&M, like Florida. And whether that is real or not, I'm not totally positive. I don't think that anybody is. I think this is revenue sharing is the newest thing, and it's the thing that people are the most unsure about, I guess, how it's going to play out. So, but honestly, like I don't see it being a huge deal in track and field. I don't see it being a huge thing, especially in the pole vault, which and the fact that I don't deal with it at all at UNI is like, oh, count my lucky stars. I love it. I just like love that I don't have to. I love that I don't have to do this stuff. You know, like I love like I talked to a different colleague coach of mine, and he's like, well, I lost his kid because this other school said that he's gonna like over 4 years he's gonna get $10,000. You know, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I never hear that in recruiting. And like if I did, I'd be like, this is the easiest thing ever. Like, no, you're not like that's not happening here. So like if that's the difference maker, then absolutely, you know.
Yeah.
But I do think to I do think there's still a good amount of people and kids that are making decisions based on the right things. We just signed a kid again wrestling. We just signed like top 10 for the following class. He's a junior. They're really early on their recruiting in that sport. Top 10 kid that would have been worth a ton of money at a few different schools. We signed him here at UNI after a weekend visit because he called like from the airport when he landed and was like, UNI's home. Like that felt like home. That's where I want to be.
Yeah.
I'm in. Let's do
That's
it. Like
awesome.
for the right reasons, you know? And
Right.
so you do still hear of that sort of thing. And that's all the kids that we get at UNI. We're really fortunate in that. It's that everybody that commits to our school and to a lot of schools that are like us too. I should mention, like, there's a lot of schools that are like us that have the same culture and the same vibe and everything. Like the kids that sign at places like that are doing it because they really want to be there and they feel at home there and they feel like they're going to get taken care of there and they feel like they're going to be able to compete and get better and improve and matter to the coach and matter to the program and matter to the head coach and the AD. Like those are really good reasons to choose a school. And I think there's still a lot of people that are making those decisions for those reasons. So that's
Right.
that, or at least maybe I'm naive, but I really think that.
No, no. I think they're out there. I mean, half of the stuff that I hear about is probably not even true. Like, actually, you're kind of shedding a lot of light on the stuff that I hear from people and things like that.
Mm,
I do have one more thing that I wanted to talk to you
yes.
about, but I just thought about a great idea, and the idea is that maybe you could capitalize on some of this cash and start being an influencer.
Yeah, that's where I'm headed. I think if anybody is really into watching a 37-year-old dad of two do some pretty mediocre weightlifting and pole vaulting,
Mhm.
my social media might be the place for you. So
Well, you could do like the whispering content
is
too.
that I don't know
You
what
know
that is.
that?
No.
You've never seen whisper content?
Oh,
Oh,
like this.
hey,
Like,
what's up?
oh
I'm
yeah, I could
Jake,
do that.
and come along
Like
with me as I go on my pole vaulting journey.
if I wore one of those like things while I lifted and then like or pole vaulted and like, okay, I'm on a 5 meter, 14.5. We're gonna give it all we got. But then it's like the sounds of pole vaulting and going over the bar.
Yeah.
Be really good.
Well, no, what would be so funny is like, okay, I'm going for a new personal best in the power clean. And here we go. Wish me luck on this. And then you scream in the middle in the middle of it.
Totally blows out the microphone.
And then you drop the weight. Hey guys, I got it. I'm really excited. And then you go back to whispering.
Wow, that could be a good channel.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
thanks
I
for the
uh
tip,
I
man.
think I think that would be pretty
I'll
cool.
cut you in on that.
Yeah, I would promote it for sure. Okay, so then the last question, I guess, is the doomsday question, which is
Uh-oh.
like, just kind of whenever this stuff started rolling around, and I had a lot of people blowing me up like pole vaulting's dead,
Yeah.
track and field's dead,
Yeah.
and you do hear some programs get cut and things like that, which, I mean, programs have gotten cut
Forever.
forever,
Yeah.
so it is what it is. But I did like, there are some prominent people that have reached out to me and been like, man, this is not good. This is going to kill our sport and all of these different things. So, I would love to hear your take on that.
I totally disagree. Obviously, I will say, like, I am a constant optimist. It's like a blessing and a curse for sure.
Yeah.
My wife, she'll say the same thing. She'll be like, sometimes you have to worry about things, you know? And I'm like, well, but I don't think that that's true. I think that there is reality that there are going to be less pole vaulters on Power Four rosters, NCAA Power Four rosters, right?
Hmm.
So there are going to be less pole vaulters on the rosters of some of these bigger schools that are trying to assemble a roster full of people that can score at the national championships, right? So
Hmm.
those big schools aren't going to carry five pole vaulters anymore, but those other pole vaulters have to have somewhere to go. And the reality is that there's going to be just as much scholarship money out there total in the total pool, NCAA wide. Um, I should mention that like there are some unbelievable Division 2 and Division 3 schools and NAIA
Hmm.
schools for the pole vault specifically. And incredible. I mean, obviously you can speak to that.
Yeah.
And those programs are not going away. And they haven't been affected too much by any of this stuff. Pole vaulters that need a home can still find a home for sure, and a place with a coach that cares a lot about them and that can develop them. There are so many amazing pole vault coaches out there at all kinds of schools and in all kinds of
Hmm.
clubs and everything else. And so if there going to be a trickle down, and like for example, is the Missouri Valley Conference going to get better? Yeah, like pole vaulters in the Missouri Valley Conference are going to be jumping a little bit higher in the future because we're going to get a lot of kids that otherwise would have gone to Baylor or Texas or Indiana or whatever, Wisconsin, right?
Hmm.
Those kids that used to be able to take a chance and walk on at a place like that are not gonna have a roster spot offered to them. But that just means that they end up somewhere like UNI or Indiana State or North Central or whatever, Minnesota State. Like I can name a million places. Minnesota State has like 25 pole vaulters. And you've probably and
Dang.
they have good pole vaulters. And people don't even know that, you know? Like every
Yeah.
time we get to compete with Minnesota State, like they bring a whole competition just on their own, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
And they're going to keep doing that, you know?
Yeah.
and and they have an awesome coach that's developing kids and making kids better and they're jumping safely and they have a good indoor facility and all that. Just like we have really good indoor facilities and I think we care about our kids and whatever.
Where
So
is Minnesota State?
it's in Mankato, Minnesota, just south and west of Minneapolis.
Southwest.
So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
just up there, but a little bit south and a little bit west of Minneapolis.
Hmm.
And they've won D2 or D3, I think. D3, I don't remember which one. Nationals like a bunch of times.
Okay.
For track. But anyway, so yeah, so some kids that would have ended up on rosters of places that I mentioned are going to end up at these kinds of schools, but like I think that I looked at that as potentially net good. Like I think about my experience at Indiana was really good. I had a really good experience at Indiana, and I loved everything about it. But like I think about what it would have been like to be somewhere like UNI, and I'm kind of like, man, would that have been better? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
the way that I see our athletes interact with each other, and the care that our kids get in every event group, and the connection that they have with other athletes and other sports, and like just all of the general student athlete life here is like it's hard to look at that and be like, oh, it's a bummer that that kid didn't get to go to whatever big school.
Yeah.
Because I'm like that
Right.
person is having an amazing student athlete experience
Yeah.
at this smaller school, and also getting the ability to go to NCAA regionals and compete against
I
the
was gonna
best kids.
say that's the thing that drives me nuts about whenever people talk about those things, like especially in like your situation, like it's not like you guys go to a different national
Uh,
meet. You know,
oh, we
like
go
it's
to the
like
same one,
you
yeah.
can go and whip up on any of those big schools if you're good enough, you could do that. And actually, now that you say that, it kind of it kind of makes me think that maybe that will be an interesting thing to follow in the future is like, okay, so maybe these big schools who are trying to win national championships, um, they're going to recruit heavily in sprints and distance running events. Like that's
Mhm.
which hot take I think is ridiculous. Like in my opinion, running the 400 and running the 200. Okay, Mondo can't win a gold medal running five lefts and running 10 lefts. I think that's the dumbest thing in the entire world. It's like,
Uh,
oh, I won 14 national
yeah.
championships. It's like, dude, let's be honest here. You did the same thing twice. Like, come on, come on, man. That's a hot take, but let's be real.
I love it.
Like Usain Bolt is going to have a high likelihood of winning the
Right.
200 if he won the 100.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, so what would be interesting is if they recruit so heavily in those running events, and then some of those other schools that like they're like, okay, well, we're gonna become powerhouses in these different field events, and then all of a sudden they snake a national championship or something
Oh, that's gonna
from
happen.
them. That'd be cool.
No, that's for sure gonna happen. Um, and especially in individual events, like you're gonna see a lot of national champions or top three guys from smaller schools just because of that trickle down effect. And there's going to be some schools that are putting together a ton of points in a few event areas. I mean, it's a million. That's 1,000,000% going to happen,
Yeah.
and it'll be exciting. It's going to get spread around a little bit more, and you're already starting to see it. But at regionals, like there's 48 kids that qualify for regionals, and it's like rather than like I don't know, somebody should track it over time, but like rather than 20 schools, it's like it's going to be 30 and then 40, and it's
Yeah.
also going to shift down like away from okay, there's 20 25 schools represented and like 15 of them are major conferences. It's going to shift down and away from that, and
Right.
that's in my opinion. Obviously, I'm at a mid major, so it benefits me, but I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think it just kind of spreads the love around a bit more, and like I've mentioned Carter a few times, but like going to nationals and getting fifth place and seeing him stand on the podium with you and I on his chest was like, and
Pretty
I was like,
sick.
that's a kid from Jefferson, Iowa. That was just a high school, just a high jumper in high school that I talked into trying the decathlon, and now he's like goes and gets fifth place, and like the kids that he beats are like Iowa, Kansas State, like Arkansas,
Unreal.
and it's a lot of fun and it can happen. Like you can do it. You can absolutely do it at places like this or places like, the other schools that I've mentioned that are awesome. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. The landscape is changing, but like I've mentioned, like the house is not on fire. The pole vault is not going to die as long as it's just not like it's too much fun.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just it's too much fun and it's part of the sport. And the thing I always say is like because the throws community is very much like the pole vault community, and there were some throws coaches that were let go last year, and like some programs like Washington State, right? They decided to go all in on sprints and distance, right? Is that
Yep.
what it was? So like no
Yep.
more pole vault multis, jumps, throws.
Hmm.
Well, like there's still 10 points for the shot put at the national championships.
Yeah.
And like somebody's going to go, I want those 10 points.
Yeah.
So the idea that the throws are just going to go away is ridiculous because that's still 10 points and you need like 60 points to win national championships in track and field.
Right. Right. Right.
So
I
like
know.
that idea of like nobody's going to do throws, like there's 4 throws outdoors,
Yeah. Right.
and the reality is like in that sport, there's very little crossover, with athlete to athlete at that level. So like there's not a lot of guys that
Right.
win the shot and the discus, like that just doesn't
Exactly.
happen nearly as much in the throws. And so having a throws coach that can potentially coach somebody in 4 different events at the national championships, like 4 different kids, and like there are going to be programs that still do that because there's, if you can get third in all 4 throws, that's 24 points. Like you're
Right.
top, you're a top five school at that point.
which is outstanding. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
So
But
I don't know, like,
I
yeah,
am really happy that you that we're able to do this and that you were able to kind of clarify some stuff for me. Last parting question before we go is really quick timeline of a athlete in the recruiting process.
yes,
Freshman year,
absolutely.
sophomore year, junior year, senior year.
Yes, this is, I'll try to make this brief and I'll give my best advice. The other caveat is like throughout this whole conversation, like I'm contributing what I understand to be the truth. And I think that it's pretty close and pretty good. But like if there are little gaps and holes and corrections or whatever, I'm totally open and willing to be like, okay, I might have been a little bit wrong about that. I think I got
Yeah.
everything pretty much right, but just throwing that out there. And then so yeah, so freshman year, freshman and sophomore year is basically focus on your event, jump as high as you can, have fun, do it, right? Junior year is where it starts to be a little bit more real. Okay.
Hmm.
So junior year is where you want to probably start thinking about, okay, what level do I want to do this at? Where am I at compared to whatever? And so the best way to do that is, use your sophomore or junior year marks, look at different conferences, and kind of see what it takes to score in that conference at the conference meet, right?
Hmm.
So conveniently in the Missouri Valley Conference, which is where we compete, on the women's side, it's kind of right around 12 feet. On the men's side, it's kind of right around 15, 15, 6, depending on the year. Okay,
Hmm.
so not like pretty attainable, right? You have kids that are jumping that high, a bunch of kids that are jumping that high every year. At that point, you are valuable to any school in that conference. Okay,
Yeah.
so now any school that's in the Missouri Valley Conference that has pole vaulters, you have value to them. All right, so you're like very much recruitable. So junior year is where you really want to, like, if you're going to do the whole senior year recruiting thing and make a decision by about this time your senior year, this time of the year, which we're speaking in November, you're going to be using your junior year mark, obviously, because we haven't started yet for senior year. And so junior year, start getting out there, getting yourself out there. I love what you do with your athletes, Jake, where you have them make their own pole vault Instagram page. I think that is really smart. I think that's awesome. Make it public so that you can get messages sent to you. That's
Hmm.
like big advice that I have, because an easy way for us to contact athletes is through social media. And if we can't send a message, then it closes that door for us. So
Right.
you have to do
Right.
that. But you have to put your email address in the profile, whichever one is easiest. So timeline wise, very common thing would be, after junior year, to be in contact with some coaches, possibly do some summer visits for academics.
This is
So
junior summer
after junior year,
after junior year.
after
Okay.
junior year,
Gotcha.
some academic visits over the summer. And so go and do on campus visits where you get information about admissions, information about cost of tuition. You do a campus visit, you eat lunch in the dorm or in the dining hall, you see the dorms, you do like all the like normal student stuff over the summer.
Hmm.
Um, just like all the campus type stuff. That's how we like to do it, is like have kids do that over the summer. We'll meet with you and chat, usually over lunch, whatever, and then bring you back for an official visit in the fall. And so then in the fall comes around, we'll bring you in on an official visit, kind of show you around more athletic stuff. So it'd be on a weekend. So campus usually isn't open. So we can't do like the on campus stuff. That's why we like to have them do that in the summer.
Yeah, yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
so that they have that all done. They understand the campus side of things. And then now we're just doing athletics. So we'll go to a game, we'll have a tailgate. We'll send the kid off with a student host. They'll kind of show them what student athlete life is like. Go bowling, go to a movie, whatever they do.
Yeah.
Um, and then usually like they're here Saturday, we have breakfast Sunday, and then send them off. Right. And then after that is usually when we have a conversation about scholarship, whether they're in a position for a partial scholarship, a walk-on situation, whatever it might be. Usually after the visit, we touch base and kind of chat about scholarship. And then at that point, it's kind of up to them to make a decision on where they'd like to go to school.
Mhm.
So my best advice to to you guys as a club is keep doing what you're doing, but for the athletes, it's to get in contact with coaches, understand where you are compared to their conference, and understand that if you're in a position where you can immediately score, you're probably you're probably in a position to expect a part like some sort of a partial scholarship. So usually we would do like anything between $2,000 and $10,000,
Mhm.
would be like a good, entry level, like coming in
Annually?
annually. Yeah, we
Okay.
always do annual, guaranteed for the time that they're here, never going to go down, can go up, but never going to go down. Um, for any reason. We've also never cut anybody's scholarship for any reason other than them getting in trouble or getting, an
Yeah.
academically ineligible, whatever. So never going to
Right.
cut a scholarship. Always going to can always go up, and that happens all the time, but won't go down. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say so one thing that we get asked a lot is like how do I contact coaches? So you're saying so what percentage of the recruiting process prior to like any sort of connection would you say like majority of it is you guys seeing videos on Instagram and then DMing people, or is it majority cold outreach from athletes or cold outreach from coaches?
I would say those are like kind of split into thirds. A lot of it is like, we'll go on like mile split and check the rankings, and then try and find kids,
Hmm.
that sort of thing. Um, that happens a lot. Like I'll go and look through Illinois mile split at the outdoor list, and if the new name pops up during the season, a junior or maybe even a senior that's just glowing up like crazy, then I'll try and find them. Usually, I just go straight to Instagram, try to find them there, so that I can see some videos, see what their jump looks like, that sort of thing, and contact them as well. It's just a really easy way to contact a recruit.
Hmm.
And usually, my first contact is like, "Hey, I'm seeing what you're doing. You're killing it. I'm the jumps coach at UNI. Can I give you a phone call?" Like we don't usually. I try not to have like a ton of back and forth on Instagram or on
Yeah, right.
whatever before getting them on a call, so I can properly introduce myself and we can get to know each other a little bit and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
but then also, I mean, kids reaching out to me is great. Like that works awesome, and I highly, highly, highly suggest that your athletes do that. Email works good. I mean, everybody's email address is up on their website on their school's website. And then if you can attach a video, that's like best case scenario. If you can attach any video, even if it's a practice video, whatever, that just helps a ton. So cold reach out to me. I would say like if you take my whole recruiting base over my 8 years of being at UNI, I would say like a third of them were kind of like I saw their video and reached out to them. And then a third of them are they reached out cold to me. And then another third just came like, "Hey, have you heard about this kid?" Or like a coach being like, "Hey, I have this
Yeah.
kid that's, killing it or whatever." So it happens through all avenues, but your best chance of like getting noticed and getting seen is not to sit on your thumbs and like hope that things happen. So
Yeah.
if you don't feel like you're getting the looks that you want, like promote yourself. Absolutely, go out there and reach out and promote yourself. And I mean, we just signed a girl from Indiana, and I can talk about this now because she's signed. But like, we just signed a girl from Indiana that's been pole vaulting for 10 months,
Dang.
and I 1,000,000% will prioritize. Well, I also saw her video and it's awesome, but I will usually prioritize a story like that because I believe that there's a tremendous upside, you
Hmm.
know?
Right, 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 right.
And so, yeah, but I don't know what I don't know. So if I look at the rankings, she's pretty far down in Indiana. Um, and I don't think that's going to last, um, but then when I hear the story from her club coach and from her and see the video, I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right, right, right.
But I don't know that unless I get the first contact was from her club coach. He said, "Hey, dude, I got this kid. You might want to take a look at."
Yeah.
And that was all it took, basically. And that that sort of information doesn't get passed on unless you're proactive about it. So
Right. So if somebody reaches out cold and they have the feeling that they're being ghosted, like on email, like an athlete reaches out cold, how long before they should just move on?
I would send at least one follow up,
Okay. Just one follow
because
up and see what happens.
some people, and I'm not going to name names, but some people wearing yellow shirts on podcasts are not the best with their inbox. Among
Well,
other,
you probably get, I mean, again, you got stuff to do and things like that. So,
yeah, and I try to get back. I really do, but and I'm sure every coach would say the same thing. Like they don't hit 100% on getting back in the first contact. I mean, we all try really hard, but one quick, you know how quick it happens, dude. Like as a busy person,
oh yeah.
like where you go, oh man, I need to respond to this, but I need to give it my like actually respond to it. And you go to respond, and you want to actually give it the time, and then something happens, and then it's
Yeah.
like you just completely forget about it, even though you're in the moment. You're like, this is good stuff. Like I need to respond to this. But then if you all of a sudden you go, hey coach, I reached out a week ago or 2 weeks ago and like haven't heard back, then you go, oh my gosh.
I
And
know.
that's all it takes. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
so that's what I always say is just send one follow up, wait like a
One,
week or two, and then
totally,
send a follow up, and then if it's not, if that's not happening, then just kind of let it go and
totally.
keep moving. But is there anything else that you wanted to mention or before we part ways here?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've obviously appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on here. It's been great. Hopefully we can do it again. I love
Yeah.
talking about the sport. I mean, it's like the NCAA landscape stuff is like kind of sometimes can be kind of a bummer thing stuff to talk about because it's like a lot of it's just like red tape and just not as fun as talking pole vault stuff. So hopefully I can get on and talk pole vault stuff again sometime soon. And
Yeah, absolutely. And then we
stuff that
gotta see if you can
um,
get on the Great Lakes on Lake
oh, Great
Michigan.
Lakes surfing scene. I need to get in on that, dude. And I need to pole vault at Rise also. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
still I don't know. I don't know how long it'll go, but I still am actively
Have you
jumping.
not
So
been here?
I've never been.
Oh, dang, dude. Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
we gotta get you up in here and
Yeah, I need to for
having a good
sure.
time.
Um,
It's been a blast, man. It's really cool. It's a special place and we've been working hard on it and it's just I don't know. I just feel yeah, I feel the same way you do. I'm just very grateful for what I get to do.
yeah,
Like it's just cool. Like it's just
yeah,
like, man, this is really special and I just, you know, I'm just very grateful for it.
yeah.
But
We're super fortunate to be living the lives that we're living, and as former mediocre pole vaulters now turned dads.
yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
don't mean
Well,
flat mediocre back to you. It was really just for me.
one that can still pole vault, which is you, which is pretty wild. Ugh, man, I haven't done anything in forever. But all right,
If
we
I
got to
come,
get
if
out.
I come down, we'll get you out. We'll get you off the ground.
Yeah, yeah, and then we'll hit up the surf shop. There's a surf shop in
Okay,
Sheboygan, and
right,
you can rent all the stuff.
perfect.
Like this is like a real thing,
How
and it
far is
was
Sheboygan?
yeah, it's not close. Uh, that's the only problem. It's like a 3 hour drive,
All
two and a
right.
half, 3 hour drive. But there's spots by me
Do
that
you
we
have
can.
to like check the like in the surfing world in the West Coast, like you check the forecast and it's like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
it's gonna be good on Wednesday.
But Surfline sucks for the lakes. Like
Right.
because it's not giant swells coming from the middle of the ocean.
Right.
Like it's just like, hey, the wind picked up, and so then it's like, oh crap, like we got to get over there. So I mean, I still pay attention to Surfline, but it's not very accurate. It's not
Yeah.
very accurate. Yeah. But there's like, I'm learning all about it and like what to look for and things like that. And there's actually people who post on YouTube like their surf sessions, just surf sessions of them going at
Right.
different spots.
Yeah.
So like I'll look at the weather, and I'll be like, okay, I think today is gonna be would be a good day to go. And then later that night, I'll pull up YouTube and it'll be like, oh, yep, there's that guy. He was there today. And then you can like kind of see like, okay, in these conditions, it looked
Right.
like this,
Right.
and so on and so forth. But it's really, really cool. I am excited about it. And yeah. So
Yeah, I
it's
was
fun whenever you're at this age when you can get excited about
something
something new, you know?
totally.
And that's yeah, it's pretty tight. So
No, I'm like dying. It's like really high on my bucket list is to surf the Great Lakes. So ever since I moved to the Midwest, is like I really wanted to surf the Great Lakes. So
we'll do it. We'll get
yeah,
it going.
I would love to, and then we'll make a ASMR video about
I was gonna say,
it.
maybe you could whisper us out here.
Let's go. Okay.